In Pathfinder 2nd Edition, you add your level to your proficiency modifier. This means most of your numbers, skill proficiencies, attack bonuses, AC, saving throws, everything grows by 1 at least when your level goes up by 1. And this creates sharp contrast between the numbers you have available to you at every level. On the one hand, this can create a heroic tale of meteoric rise, but on the other hand, it can lock the fighter out of diplomacy checks in the late game. Today, we will be looking at all of the pros and cons of adding level to proficiency. Hey everyone, Utkarsh from Spirit Bell Games here. In this video, I will talk about the benefits of adding level to proficiency, and then I will also discuss the disadvantages of adding levels to proficiency. And in additional videos in the future, I will discuss how those disadvantages can be navigated around, if not fully mitigated. The first pro, the most important, is how the numbers tell a story. There's a video by RuneSmith describing this phenomena really well. At level 1 or 2 or 3, you can have the player's settlement be ravished by an adult dragon, and there is no way that the players can meaningfully react to that kind of an attack, because that's what the story setup is for. And then when the player has done a bunch of adventuring and reached the appropriate level, then they can take up arms against that dragon and bring it down with the power of their team. And then when they do further adventuring and get involved in interplanar adventures and mythic quests, they can reach levels where dragons of that stature could become their mounts or their sidekicks. And because you have this numerical ladder that goes up, this kind of story can be told. The second advantage of adding levels to proficiency is that it makes encounter design more predictable. One of the things that Pathfinder 2nd Edition is lauded for is that the encounter design just works. And part of the reason it just works is because adding levels to proficiency creates sharp numerical divides between every single level, so that by the time you are 4 levels up, your character is about twice as powerful. And the same thing applies to enemies. The attack bonuses go up, the defenses go up, hit points go up. And by everything going up, the designers have created more predictable range bands of danger. Now, part of the predictability also comes from managing player side balance on the player character side, but undoubtedly adding levels to proficiency has a big part in it. The third advantage is niche protection, especially at high levels. Sure, at low levels, your barbarian that has 0 intelligence and is untrained in arcana could still luck into succeeding on a DC 15 arcana check. But once you hit mid levels and those checks are DC 25, DC 30, then that barbarian cannot overtake the party wizard or whoever is trained in arcana or expert or legendary in arcana. The untrained barbarian with 0 intelligence cannot overtake that specialist in there. So as the levels go up, skill training can become character defining. Okay, so those are the 3 most prominent advantages of adding levels to proficiencies, and each of them come with a corresponding disadvantage. First thing I said was it creates this heroic tale of meteoric rise to power, from being unable to target these big bad enemies to being able to take them down when you're of sufficient level. The downside to that is it makes sandbox games much more difficult to prepare for and run. Every level increase in a sandbox game makes all of the prepared monsters and challenges that much less powerful, and so it only takes a couple of levels before all of the preparation that the GM has done becomes trivialized. I will dedicate a whole future video to talking about different approaches you can take to sandboxing in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, one of which is just removing levels from proficiency. But there are others too. The second pro that I had talked about was the predictable encounter setup, but its corresponding con is that a lot of monsters are out of the box locked out to you as the GM from being used. You may find that if you're running a level 2 adventure, you cannot use the very thematically appropriate level 7 or level 12 monster, because all monsters that are effectively level 6 and higher are now unavailable to you. You are stuck between choosing the monsters that are from -1 to +5 level, maybe a +6. The third con, which corresponds to the niche protection, is that it is possible for a player character, to get locked out of certain aspects of the game at higher levels. So we talked about niche protection, but if only 2 out of your 4 characters are trained or expert in diplomacy, then by level 10, 11, 12, the other 2 characters may feel that they are completely not able to participate in the social aspect of the game. Again, in a future video, we will discuss different ways to address this, but this is a necessary dark side of niche protection. Once the niche is protected, no one can step on those toes. Now, there is something that you may think is a con of adding levels to proficiency, which is this idea of treadmilling, that they feel that the character is climbing an escalator that's going down because the DCs keep leveling up with them, and they feel that they're facing roughly the same odds at all times. But that is, to me, not an issue of adding levels to the proficiency. It is more an issue of using fixed DCs versus level scaling DCs, which will have its own video talking about it. One last thing, which I will discuss in detail in the Patreon exclusive extended edition of this video, is fixed item DCs, because a lot of people find fixed item DC to reduce the enjoyment of magic items in this game. So if you want to check out the full discussion on that, go to patreon.com/spiritbellgames and find the free version of this video. You just have to become a free member. You don't need to pay anything, and watch that part. So that has been a list of the pros and cons of adding levels to proficiency. In future videos, I will discuss more about the cons that adding levels to proficiency brings and how we can navigate those cons as GMs. For now, this is me signing off, wishing you all engaging games.